good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
Welcome to Steve is there by the side of me. Welcome to the Paranormal Chronicles.
Yeah.
I've just got to click a button on my computer so as everyone can see it. I think that should be it. No, yeah. We will get shared out to everyone in a moment, Steve. As I just said, I have to click another button to make it shared out to lots of people.
Yeah.
So introducing Steve, we've been friends for a long time. We've been investigating together for a long time. He's sort of a bit like me, interested in the technology side of things, but open to all sorts of experiences. Steve is, admin on quite a few web pages and Facebook pages where people will throw in pictures, thoughts and ideas, but particularly pictures. And Steve will pass his thoughts and judgments on these, not always to people's tastes, I must say, but he's offering very honest opinion and appraisal of these things.
Yeah.
And this is what we wanted to discuss tonight, is the sort of issues that are brought up on these Facebook pages and web pages that we as investigators, we have to deal with regularly. And Steve has to put people right, and it doesn't always go down too well, does it, Steve?
No. Surprisingly enough, when you tell people something that they don't want to hear, they don't like the answer. So, you know.
What is the biggest thing you come across that you pass comment on that people put an idea forward?
It's not actually listening to what's being said.
Yeah.
I understand that people want to believe, but at the same time, when you're trying to explain something that's a lot of times got a natural explanation, and if you actually looked into it a bit more honest, you'd accept it, but they just completely close off, they get defensive, call you a non-believer, personal attacks, and basically it goes nowhere. I mean, why put a picture up or video or whatever and then get annoyed when people don't give you the answers that you don't want to hear? It's just, you don't have to agree with me or whoever else, but at least listen to what I'm saying. And I understand that, there could be times where I'm wrong. I understand that. I mean, I'm not saying it really happens that much, because if it's a natural explanation, then that's just how it is. But at least listen to what I'm trying to say, or other people trying to say, other opinions. See, what you'll find is that you'll get certain people saying that you're closed-minded. I'm not closed-minded. I'm open-minded. I'm questioning it because I'm not blindly believe what I'm hearing. But I'd say where people are calling me closed-minded, then people are closed-minded to anything that doesn't align to what they want to believe.
I was just going to say, if your opinion doesn't align to their opinion, then you're wrong, not them.
Yeah, basically. Like I said to you before, I mean, if you've got 100 people and say you believe in demons, just an example, and you really believe in them, and you've got 50 people saying, I have no reason to believe demons exist, and you've got 50 people saying, demons exist, I've got no evidence, but they exist. A lot of times, people are only going to listen to the ones that give the narrative they want to hear.
Absolutely, so yeah. You've got to be more open to people's thoughts, suggestions, and ideas. But some people are not; they're just too focused on their own ideas, aren't they, to listen to others?
Yeah. Again, I'm not knocking people. It's a learning process. We've all been there. I mean, I used to believe a lot more before I started. I'm not ashamed to admit it, and I'll learn more as I get older, as I move forward. I'm not saying I am the bastion of truth and I know everything. I mean, I know a lot on certain things, but at the same time, there's people out there who know more than I do, so I don't overstep that mark. I don't pretend to know what I don't know. If I don't know, I don't know.
Yes.
That's it. I've got no reason to pretend. If I don't know something, well,
yeah. But that's part of our life's learning curve, and especially with the paranormal, we're on this trail where there are so many people to claim to know answers and give you specific answers, yet you know, it is still a learning curve, but it should be an open-minded learning curve, I think, anyway.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
It goes both ways, definitely.
I mean, sometimes. Sorry, go on.
No, go on, carry on.
No, it was just a little side thing, but it's not important. Carry on. You were saying.
Well, I was going to say, what causes the most contention within the comments that get thrown at you, or the subject matter? What's the biggest bone of contention?
From me or the people posting?
From people.
It's basically not accepting what's been provided.
Yeah.
Again, I keep saying we, whoever, can point you to the answer, but there's no good myself to say, saying what it is. You need to go and check it out and see for yourself if the answer makes sense, if it's true. You have to research. See, I think a lot of the problem is a lot of people don't research. Yeah. A lot of people think paranormal investigating is just running around for 8 hours or whatever in a building. Yeah. It's not. It's learning how the human brain works, how cameras work, how we fool ourselves, our biases. It's a big subject. I always believe that what you learn, you take with you onto the subject. Like you say, there's no real experts on the subject. You can be an expert on something that you can bring to the subject. So.
I was talking recently to somebody who we were talking about various technologies within paranormal, and my view has always been that to detect paranormal activity, i.e. the presence of spirits or ghosts, however you want to describe, if you want to use conventional technology that is designed for a specific purpose, my contention is to detect the presence of a spirit or a ghost, you need equipment suitable for the process rather than off-the-shelf equipment built for another purpose. Well, and that's led me to my trail is to design and build and experiment with technology.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, again, back in the day when I was more than a novice, should we say, I bought the EMF meters, and because I had a less understanding of how things worked, and I realised as I've gone forward that the EMF meters will only do what they are designed to do.
Yeah.
What EMF meters, cell meters, they will. I always say, and I was having this conversation obviously last week with Mandy. They will only detect what's in the atmosphere, basically.
Yeah.
What they're designed to do.
Yeah.
I've obviously, this. I've got some EMF meters here, so I'll just pull a few up. I mean, like this one, the cell meter here. Yeah. I mean, that's initially how they were made for cellular reasons. So what people have done in the past is they've got this sensor here and they put it inside the box there.
Yeah.
And then they've put a label on saying ghost meter.
Yes.
And it's not a ghost meter. I mean, thing is, right, I know that you know a lot more about the technology than me, but no one's ever actually scientifically measured a ghost and proven it.
Yeah.
Where don't get it wrong. I mean, I suppose with me meters, it's probably because as well, being a guy like me tech stuff, gadgets. So you end up we'll get another. Oh, that's a nice EMF meter. I'll buy that. where like yours is specifically designed that thought of how am I going to pick up a spirit?
Yes.
Not changing the atmosphere, but directly contact, communicate. With spirit. So.
Yeah, well, one of my early goals, which is still a goal, but it's sort of progressing nicely, is EVP recordings and live EVP equipment.
Yeah.
So that's sort of, I've combined that my type of technology. This is equivalent to something that I use. This is one I call PX10. Lots of knobs and things and microphone at the side. And I'll explain basically that there is a dual type of sensor in the top here. There's a EMF coil and a pot of quartz and pyrite crystals. That's one sensor. And the microphone is another sensor. And the machine can mix those two together. And the output then obviously comes out of the speaker, just here. And that is then can form a feedback loop because the machine can then hear itself and re-amplify anything. So this is EMF type sounds and vocals as well, all mixed in and re-amplified as a feedback loop. So that's one of the routes that I've been going down to try and get real-time communications. Yeah. So that particular box is something I've been using for a little while, but I tend to, as you know, bring out different bits of kit at different times, different places, depends where it suits, how many people are around, who's around. So it gets used when it gets used, but it's still a very, very interesting instrument. And I should say with that one, rather than the K2 meters, which only have 5 LEDs, this one has got a 10 LED display, very sensitive 10 LED.
You've also got to go better, haven't you?
Yeah. It's part of it is it's to be very visual to anybody watching it, and to a camera if you wanted to record it and use it for later evidence, then you've got audio and visual all in one.
Well, that's the thing with the K2 meter, isn't it? That one of the reasons why they were so popular, is with the flashing lights, especially.
Yeah.
In the dark, you easily to see them, and if you think you're picking up a spirit and happy days, but of course, Paul Rowland wasn't happy with that.
Who?
So maybe you'd like to explain. Before I give a little demonstration with my adapted K2, maybe you'd like to give a brief description, the reason why you adapted it for me. So
yeah, K2s are incredibly sensitive devices, but they don't give out enough information of what they're picking up or detecting. So by that I mean they've only got 5 LEDs on display, and that's it. That's your lot. Now in that machine, I know from experiments, can pick up mains electricity, static electricity, all sorts of digital sounds from, say, a computer or from a mobile phone or even a computer screen. But on that 5 LED display, you can't determine what on earth might be triggering that K2.
Yeah.
So after a bit of discussion with yourself, I stole your K2 and put a socket on the side and made just a bog standard audio amplifier. So you can now amplify anything that your K2 picks up.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of interesting experiences, but I mean, you can do a little demo of it there, hooking up the K2. Have you still got it set up there?
Yeah. Well, what I'll do, I'll show how it works. How it works before you turn the sound on. So right, again, guys, I'm sorry, I'm not an expert with this. I'm not very good with live stuff. So I'll do my best. So you have to just bear with me. So
yeah, Steve's just going to turn his camera around a little bit, and
right. So there's the screen again. So this is obviously the K2 here, and you have to tell me, Paul, if you can see something. So obviously,
yeah, you're on there. Yeah.
This is the old type of K2, so I've got to keep my thumb on the trigger. But obviously, you'll get the thing. So obviously, you're in a building. I'm trying to communicate, and then can you see the lights, Paul?
Yeah, we got them. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, just the lights are going off. Oh, that's interesting. Right, okay. So as a standard K2, that's all you'd get. So this is now Paul's adapted. If this will work. So now this is with the adaptation with the sound. A minute. Why has that gone funny? 1 second.
What I should say, if this isn't going to work for us like a live experiment, as they sometimes happen, is below on the table there's an audio amplifier, and
this was working perfect.
It was working before, yes.
Yeah.
So you've got a very slight digital sound in the background, which is the processor inside the screen, making electrical sounds. There you go. And this is all being picked up by the K2, but a conventional standard K2, you wouldn't hear any of that.
Well, again, I'll just show with the basic meters. I mean, obviously, this is the cell meter. So this has got sound, but all it's telling you, it's being activated. It's not telling you what the sound is. So yeah, you can hear the sound and the lights.
Yeah.
And the same with the standard gauge meter. Oh, no, you know what? I had 2 meters here. See, I'm not very good with live stuff, Paul. There you go. So again, it's activated and it's telling you it's picking something up, but it's not nowhere as interesting as what you did to the K2. So
well, the big difference is, as I said at the start, I attached just a bog standard audio amplifier, so it's capable of amplifying any audio signal, whether it's a digital sound, a radio sound, or a vocal sound. That's the nature of why I wanted to do it. And that's a good route to go down, because then as an investigator, wandering around and seeing the display light up but not knowing what caused it, now your meter, you can actually make a determination, and from the sounds of it, I know certain machines, certain technologies make certain sounds. So for me, it's quite easy to identify them. It's the unusual ones that we're interested in.
Well, in the King's Head pub, when we tried it with the fan in the toilet area, I mean, you could even hear that.
Yes, the motor. Yeah. I'm just going to give a quick shout out to everyone that's in the chat room at the side. We've got Holly and Mandy and Michelle, and Holly's still there talking. We'll come back to your question in a moment, Holly. Emma's there. Hi, Emma. And Sheen is there. Hi, Sheena. And Roy's there. Hi, Roy. So hello to everybody. We'll come back to Holly's question in a moment.
Somehow I thought Holly'd have a question.
I thought so as well. So yeah, that's the route, and that is a very simple example. As you know, I use various audio type technology to try and get results, and part of it is that anything with a conventional audio amplifier, that means that any of the recordings that we do are recorded forever, or as long as we want them, and it allows us to make judgments of them later. So as we're, say, doing a call out in a room, and we think we might hear a strange sound or a voice through the equipment, as long as you've got an audio recorder running, then you can go back to it and have a listen to it. Quite critically important to make those recordings.
Well, in a bit, after obviously Holly's question, we can talk about some of the EVP if you want.
Yes. Let's just find Holly's question. Holly says, Steve, what in your opinion would be an orb dust was caught in a building that wasn't old or dusty? Would you think it was more believable?
There's dust everywhere. That's it.
Yeah.
You would actually have to go to a building like some secure building where I don't know, maybe where they build a space probe or something, and it's basically got to be that cleanliness, that clean, that you have to basically have zero, well, as close to zero dust particles as you can in the building. Good example of that is if you've seen the movie Independence Day, when they get to Area 51 and they land, and then they're going to go through the doors where everyone's there all suited up and contained, and they open the door and just walk straight through and basically break the
they contaminate
yeah,
the scene, don't they? Basically, yes.
That's it. Again, I'm wondering mind blanks again. Yeah. So basically, you'd have to have as close to that, because everywhere, even outside, there's dust. Now, see, one of the good things with me is how I've learned a lot is ironically cycling, because I get to experience a lot of natural occurrences outside. With summertime, I was riding home last Friday. The amount of little moths when I rode on the river to go home in my bike, there was just hundreds of these little moths. I get them obviously in the daytime with the little other insects. I get dust. I get hit by a load of dust. You'll get people say, "Oh, it wasn't raining," and you can sometimes see like a raindrop effect on the picture. They say it wasn't raining. Thing is, it just has to rain. I've been in what looks like a hot sunny day, and I've been hit by a bit of rain. You will still get droplets falling.
Yeah, there's always things in the atmosphere, isn't there?
Yeah. Again, I suppose not most people are going to go cycling as much as me, so they're not going to experience a lot of this stuff. From my point of view, it's just aiding me. Because sometimes I've got to admit, especially in the summer, I hate it. I'm not really a fan of insects.
No.
And I don't like. If you ever see me on a bike on a summer's day and I wave my arms around, it's because there's a bee or wasp near me.
Yeah.
And I crap myself. I really have a phobia of those sort of things.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't come and sit in my garden, because we've got lots of pollen attracting flowers and things, so we get lots of bees and things in our garden.
Well, before this morning, should I say, Michelle wanted to get rid of her daddy long legs.
Right.
So she said she doesn't mind them, but she won't pick them up and throw them out the window. So
I'm going to just say we've got Chris Andrews has joined us. I know Holly and Mandy and Mal met up with him last weekend, I think. So hi, Chris. Yeah. Glad you're with us. Mandy's put a follow-on question to Holly's. And I'm going to ask you the question the way she's put it, and I'm just going to change it slightly as well. Do you think an orb is caused by spiritual energy? And I'm going to put a caveat at the end, and I'm going to put, do you think an orb can be caused by spiritual energy?
I'm on the fence. I've seen two myself. We saw one together, me, you, and Michelle.
Yeah.
And I saw the second one I saw was one in, I think it was room 3, where you guys were all looking at the opposite direction. I just happened to look up, and a tiny little orb basically just dropped from the ceiling and moved around.
Right.
But this is the problem is, except for people who are more mediumistic and psychic in that respect, who can communicate. From our point of view, it's difficult to know, is it actually caused by a spirit? Is it something natural? Like, I'm not saying ball lightning, but something on them lines. It's very difficult to know what it is. I mean, I think we can say these things exist, not in the quantity that a lot of people say they do. Because, like I said to you before, that we don't normally sit there on investigation just looking through a screen.
Yeah.
And you see it all over the place. There are times, like you said, in like room 5, you've seen quite a few little lights and things like that,
and they still puzzle me greatly.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some myself. It's not been as many as you, but. Yeah, the bottom line is I can't say either way. I mean, I'm always open. open both ways. I mean, I'm open to it having more natural experience. I'm open to be it more paranormal, and I think that's why I like being the way I am. Besides trying to find a natural explanation, I want to be proved wrong as well, and a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I go around and I'm just debunking everything. Or I've had experience myself, so it doesn't mean I don't believe, and I get that a lot. People calling me a non-believer. Not just me, other people. Why are you on this page if you don't blindly believe? There's a difference. Unfortunately, a lot of people go through life and they don't question stuff. We need a bit more skepticism in that way, where we don't automatically just jump in. Just because someone's said something. I'm not saying people are always lying. Of course they're not. I mean, there's some very honest people out there, and I'm sure the experience is completely true. But there are also people who you get a lot of trolls coming on. You get a lot of people who want attention, want to feel special.
Yeah.
So it's a subject that's, from my point of view, again, everyone's different. I'm not saying my point of view is right. It's a subject that should be, one should step back and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah. Being open-minded is probably a key phrase with it, really.
Yeah, I mean, step back and think, what, sometimes, and I've had it myself. I mean, I'll go back to something in a minute where I filmed myself last Friday, and I told you guys that people can be mistaken. Doesn't mean the bad people. It's just sometimes, people make mistakes. I was in room 6 last week, and before you guys turned up. Now, I'm not normally a person who gets scared easily, but there was a situation where I actually had the hair stand up on my arms and cold down my back. And what it was quiet in there. If you're by yourself in there, it's very quiet, isn't it? It's at the back.
Yeah.
So I'm there, and out of nowhere I heard and you know where I'm going with this now. I swear, I just went cold. And what the hell's that sound? It sounded like someone, growling at me. And then I realised about 10 seconds later, it was a motorbike in the distance. Again, another example, and you always take the piss out of me with this, pardon my French, is the air freshener. I was having a conversation with an air freshener because I didn't know they put one of those air fresheners that periodically go off.
It was an automated air freshener. It gives a squirt of mist out about every 15 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. And we were sitting there in the dark, weren't we? So you didn't know.
Yeah, well, normally there was not one there. No one told us.
No.
And we kept getting this smell. Oh, smell of roses. Oh, I think someone's coming forward with roses.
How many times did you say that? No.
I lost count.
Yeah. But we can laugh about it because it's a great example of being mistaken and then finding the answer there as well.
I've got no problem being mistaken. I've got no problem if someone come along and say, you know what, you're wrong. This is look at this. I'm not saying I am the be all end all. There's probably times where I am wrong. I mean, I accept that. People that can't go through life thinking they're right all the time. I think it's a good quality to have, where you can actually just accept you're wrong or you could be wrong.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just go back to young Holly, who has followed on a little bit more with her question. Steve, in your opinion on orbs, what is the difference, for example, between red and blue? I can chip in a bit with this if you want.
Personally, I think it's just things reflecting in the particle.
Yeah.
So when you're it could be, I know, maybe a bit of fibre or whatever floating in the app. You take a picture, you get it, and it's naturally another part of the red cushion in the corner. Or
yeah.
Again, I'm not saying there's no possibility of different coloured orbs meaning something. I mean, I've seen no evidence for this. Just because I see no evidence doesn't mean that it can't be true. So, well, you'd like to give your explanation, obviously.
No, it's very, very similar. I was going to say it's the reflective quality of whatever is causing the orb in the photo. So it's not the object itself; it's what it's reflecting from its surroundings, which is almost never taken into account within the photograph. Understandably, people don't normally look around to see if there's anything else that's going to cause these issues.
I think a lot of it is a lot of people who are interested in the subject don't actually spend as much time as we do. So you can't really blame people because it's I suppose it's something that you just stumble across. Again, there was times when I didn't know this. You know, we've all got to start somewhere, haven't we?
Yeah. I'm going to try and pull up some pictures actually, just to give an example. So just bear with me, and I'll see if I can get this to work.
Careful what you're putting up for. You might get.
Oh no, yeah. Don't want those naked ones going out again, do we?
Oh, exactly.
Right. Share. That's come on the screen. Yeah, this is a photograph I took in Plastech a long time ago. This is probably about 15 years ago, and I can tell you the reason why that is. You can see at the top to the left of the picture of the Medusa there is typically what you would call an orb. If I can just do that, round circular object. That has been caused by a small amount of dust very close to the lens of the camera near the flash, caught the light, and you've ended up with an orb type object. Now, the reason I can give an explanation is this is on an older camera of mine, which I would have used on flash on auto mode, and that's quite typically where a lot of orb pictures come from. I think I lined up just a couple more. This was in, just to give a good example, this is not a haunted property. This is in a farmhouse that we've stayed in a few times in Somerset. Very similar looking round object, same procedure, same camera. It's not that there's a fault with the camera, it's just it's dust that's been reflected by light from the flash. But the final one is one I haven't shown many people. This was taken in Plastech around about the same time, but I didn't take this photo. So this is a group of the public, and it's the boyfriend of the two young ladies with blonde hair. And this is in the Parrot Room by the looks of it. To the left, to our left, as we look at the picture, you can see the round object, which caught my eye. And this is one of the most unusual photographs that I'll say is an orb. I don't know what's caused it. So I wouldn't necessarily say, although it's quite possible it's a spiritual connection to it. But if I just keep zooming in a little bit more, it's a very, very unusual photo. And as far as the gentleman who took the photo, he gave me permission, he sent me this as a copy. And I went and looked in the room afterwards. I couldn't see anything that would have caused that.
See, that doesn't look like it's reflecting light. It looks like it's emanating its own light. So
yeah, it looks typically like something out of a sci-fi movie of the more recent version of The Day the Earth Stood Still, that the orbs that came to Earth, and it had a glowing inequality and rotating.
Do you know what it actually looks like as well? A star.
Yeah. It's I mean, the more, if I just keep zooming in on it, it doesn't get a lot better. That's just over 100%. It's very, very unusual. There's nothing underneath it. It's not even like it's a lampshade or anything like that.
No.
So although typically like you, I dismiss a lot of orb photos, that's one that puzzles me, which I always use as an example. So anybody that wants to come along, try to explain that, you're welcome. But a very interesting one. Let's just Mandy has said it's a good thing to capture something, but also a good thing to debunk something, which we have done in the past. We do that many times, don't we?
Yeah.
Whether it's audio recordings or video.
Well, Mandy last week, week before, we shared a picture, and we looked into it deeper, and when I think it was she had a bag there with the rings on the straps.
Oh yes, I've seen this.
And
Yes.
in the window, it looked like eyes or something. But I pointed out that it's probably the reflection of that onto the back itself. So that was quite nicely debunked.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a fun part of investigating as well, debunking. And not in a nasty way. You know, it's just always good to find the explanation.
Yeah. Holly's come back, and this is a question pointed at me. She says, or for Paul as well, can dust be caught on the thermal images? Now, in the King's Head, there's 2 fixed thermal imaging cameras. There's just slightly lower resolution than
we were talking about this 2 weeks ago, weren't we, me and you?
Yeah. And the answer to the question, Ollie, yes, I have seen dust particles, which people would call orbs, caught in the thermal. Now, the thermal camera works only on temperature, not on actual video image. It portrays anything it sees in front of it as a heat signature of its image. And I've seen orbs, not very often, in fact, very, very infrequently, but orb-shaped objects, little round objects drop in front of them. So that does beg a question. We don't know at what distance they've been to the lens of the camera, which will make a difference. But interestingly, how whatever size, it's going to be extremely small, it's capable of reflecting heat or displaying heat, which is what the camera, it's the only thing the camera can pick up. So that, I presume, in the future is going to lead to a few more interesting questions. Why can a dust particle be picked on a thermal imaging camera? And if that's the case, what else might be shown on a thermal imaging camera? There's probably more going to come out of those 2 cameras yet. Very interesting.
I think with the thermal, one of the disadvantages of it, and it's a great bit of kit, is at the moment it's quite expensive, isn't it?
Oh,
so
yes.
A lot of people aren't going to have a lot of access to it.
No. But there's a lot of experiments with those 2 cameras. There is a lot of experiments that can be done. I mean, I'm interested in sort of consciousness, thought projection type ideas, the Uri Geller telekinesis type stuff. And if someone was to try and practice something like that in front of those cameras, could something they can do be displayed as a thermal image? And I don't know the answer. I look forward to doing the experiments.
Exactly. So, we'd like to hear from anybody else, I suppose, who's got these cameras or used them. Yeah. For their thoughts. Yeah.
I know there are some investigators that have got portable thermal imaging equipment, but again, it's very expensive, so it's not used very often. But
I love one myself. I mean, I'm have to mug somebody one night and get one.
You touched on the subject before about demons, and I do like to ask people about this. What's your thought on the portrayance of demons primarily on American television, not so much in this country?
In the US, they're a lot more religious. They are proper, God and things like that. And I think a lot of, again, I'm not speaking for the Americans. I mean, if Americans want to come along and give their opinions, but my thought is the mindset of where there's good, God, there's negative, evil, demons, Satan, things like that. And personally, I'm not really a big believer in myself, but I'm not. Again, I'm not saying I've got no reason to believe myself. But again, I'm happy to be proved wrong. I mean, it's not like I'm dismissing it and saying these things can't happen. I just it's not something that I describe it personally. I mean, what's your opinion on it?
Very, very little. I think it's, as you said, it's very specifically caught up with the more religious elements within America. The whole population is far more religious than we are, and I think it's just a sideline from that, really. I actually think that investigators should try and steer away from it, because it's venturing too much into religion, and as an investigator, we're not trying to contradict or cross religion. We're investigating the potential of the spirit of people that were once living that can carry on in life, the afterlife. And I would say, in my view, that those people that believe in demons that can affect the living world, and we're interested in investigating the afterlife, those that have gone after us.
Yeah.
So I think the two, investigators should separate themselves from it far more than they are. The other side is, it's more interesting for a TV camera to someone to shout out. I think there's a demon here. It's far more exciting.
I mean, I like the fact of when people take the piss out of Zach Bagans with Ghost Adventures, and they'll say something like, I know what's that meme. Could this fly be the deceased family member of the person who died in this house? And it is. It's just showmanship in it. At the end of the day, I'm not. You know what? As long as you don't take it too seriously, just take it what it is. So
yeah. Emma has come through and said everything seems to be a demon on these American shows, and that is the problem. They've just tended to follow the trend because that's probably been encouraged by the production companies because they want more exciting TV. But it's, in my view, it's not in my interest to investigate that side of things.
Well, we all know ourselves. If we were to sit there and record an actual investigation, it'd be boring.
Yeah. Emma's just come back and said, it's used by producers to create excitement, which is just what we said, yes.
I think what people need to realise as well is it's money. They're there to make money. They're not there to pander to people's beliefs.
Yeah.
It's unless you get ratings, you don't make money. You don't get advertisers.
Yeah.
So.
Just want to catch up on a couple of questions or comments that have been coming in. Mandy has put, do you think that orbs that are caught with the naked eye are real as the ones caught on camera?
I'd say when you see it with your own eyes, it's a lot more natural. The trouble with cameras is that they're a lot more susceptible to, like you say, optics within a camera.
Yes.
If you see it with your naked eye, that's a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Because I can't say, it was the camera flash. I mean, sometimes we've been in the pub and we've thought we might have seen an orb, and it was like, I know, a car coming down the side and bit of car light hitting the ceiling, and then you just realise that it was nothing really to.
Which goes on quite a lot, but being there so often, you tend to dismiss it because you know the answer or the cause of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Chris has made a comment. Most activity is never quite understood and is often branded as negative as such. A simple spirit can easily be mistaken as demonic because of the fear people express. Yes, I agree entirely that people tend to go into ghost hunting / paranormal investigation with fear in their mind.
Yeah.
So then the mindset is automatically on beware, be scared, be prepared to run and jump, because if someone says they sense a presence in the room, the natural reaction is scream, run away.
What you'll get online a lot is people instilling their beliefs and fear onto others. So you'll have people say, you need to sage your house and pray to God and get rid of this demon, and put the fear into people who just maybe post a picture or ask a question or something, and you get the fear mongers coming in and they just feed on it.
Holly's come back in. This is a question to Steve, but again, I think I can give it a bit more of a technical answer. But the question is, why do orbs tend to have snail trails following them?
It's not a snail trail. What it is, it's just again, you'd be able to answer this better than me. It's like a slow shutter speed, technically, where the object's moving and the camera's still taking a picture. So the bright bit's moved, and you just get a slow, what looks like a tail behind it. Yeah. And all it is just the shutter speed that's not, you explain it better than me, Paul.
No, that's quite true. I mean, I've seen examples as well on CCTV that in a CCTV system, an older one, they automatically change the shutter speeds depending on the mode of the camera. And in night vision mode, they go to a slower shutter speed. And I've seen little bits of footage where a person has walked across the viewpoint of the camera and left a trail of themselves behind. And it's merely the shutter speed that isn't fast enough because it's the nature of how the camera operates. So it's Holly, it's a technical answer of the camera is capturing for a longer period of time rather than the snap in daylight. It's a longer exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer, Chris. Actually, a mixture of light and time trapped via the shutter. That's a good way of thinking about it. Yeah.
See, one of you guys be able to do better than me. So.
No, I've often thought that the way I take photos is I always try and do it or primarily without people in the shot, because I deliberately use longer shutter speeds. So anything from 3 to 5 seconds, depending on location and how much light is around. If there's a person in that shot, they will leave a trail of themselves or a glowing image, an after image of themselves. All the rest of the background will be as I want it to. You'll see everything. But because the person is moving in the shot, you get the trails.
I would like to, as well, just what's fresh in your mind, is point out what I find now is sort of like taking over dust as seen as orbs. Is you get a lot of pictures posted, or video, should I say, of like doorbells,
Nice.
like Rome, whatever they're called, and you get like tiny little spiders walking across the lens.
Oh yes.
And there's been a lot of people who assume that's an orb. Where try and cut a long story short, the camera's focused into the distance, and the spider it can't focus, it just blurs it out.
Yes.
And the biggest thing that I'm seeing a lot of people posting, again, it's just a learning curve, is lens flare.
Yes, yeah. I get that on one. I've got a camera I carry around with me in the car, bridge camera, and if I put the zoom lens out to full extent, I often get lens flare in that, and it's just the nature of the optics in the camera.
I think it's good in a way to take pictures lens flare, because not paranormal, but they can make some fantastic images in your pictures.
Yes, but you've got to understand and know that that's how it's being caused, and accept how it's being caused as well. I mean, the camera I use when we go to the pub, digital SLR, so the optics are higher quality than point and shoot cameras, and I'm controlling shutter speed and aperture and other various things, so that makes a difference.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mandy's ring doorbells. That's right, Chris. I think Sam's just joined us as well. Yes, I did an experiment with the thermal imager as well. I lay on the bed in room 6 for about 5 minutes, and when I get off, the afterglow of my body stayed on that bed, and it was heat signature in my body that stayed there on the bed for some time. Equally well, that could work in reverse, and it's something I want to explore a bit more. It's very often commented that spirits can cause cold spots, so that those thermal imaging cameras equally can show raised temperatures or lowering temperatures by color, the various degrees of color. So that could be an interesting thing in the future.
Well, talking about the cold spots, one of the most interesting ones we had was, like you said, was room 5, where you were in there, and you had a cold spot by the window. It was winter time. But it was freezing cold, wasn't it? So we went over to the where the radiator was. It was burning hot. I mean, really hot. And that's only a smallish room, so that's not going to take a lot to warm that room up.
No.
The windows were all closed, and it was absolutely freezing, that spot, wasn't it?
I've witnessed the same thing myself. I've been in there. The room has been extremely cold, and the heating on full blast. So yes, I would agree entirely. There's something odd about that room, and it doesn't happen all the time. It's infrequent, so happens from time to time. Holly's put, how do you decipher the difference between a simple dust and a faced hand apparition? For example, the hand I caught downstairs in the King's Head. The hand picture I almost missed, Holly. It was only a very, very fine, wispy blob of light on the original full colour picture. And it just caught my eye. There was just something a little bit iffy about it. And this is where you can't make any determinations of photographs based on the camera's small viewing screen on the back of the camera. Never, ever make that determination. Once you put it on a bigger computer screen and view it with low light surrounding you, it allows your eyes to see the image much more clearly. And when I looked at that image, I could tell there was something a little bit unusual about that spot. Even the same with the head from in the Regency room in the King's Head. In the original full colour image, it was only just noticeable that there was something different.
Did you mean the Regency room in Plasteg?
Yes. Yeah.
You said the King's Head.
Sorry, the Regency room in Plasteg. But that's a similar. Yes. That's a similar thing. It's hardly noticeable, Holly. You have to concentrate very hard because the images are not very well defined, and this is, to me, is typical of the spirit world that we're trying to find evidence of. You've got to look hard and work hard at it, whether that's audio recordings, video, or photos. In my view, a lot of these things can be missed very easily. They're not going to jump out at you very, very rarely. So you've got to put a lot of effort and viewing time into check.
You've got to be willing to throw stuff out and just accept it's not paranormal. And I think that's part of the problem we've got these days is there's so many people who would just constantly post. I find this as well when I'm on a Facebook page where you'll post an explanation to, I don't know, a dust particle or something, or a light source or whatever, and you've explained it clearly, and you'll just get picture after picture after picture of what about this, what about this, what about this, and it just will not accept that it's been debunked. So the trouble is as well, you know, we can point people to the direction of what the explanation is, but people have to go and research it themselves.
Yes.
It's not good me just saying, you know, this is what it is. You need to find out yourself. You need to go and look at it, you know.
And accept the explanation.
Yeah, I mean, if the explanation is the truth and it makes sense, then you just need to accept it and move on. Because all we do a lot of times is just go around in circles.
Yes. Yes, Chris, the answer to that question is yes. The heat pattern of the outline of my body, I did the experiment very knowingly and deliberately, lay on the bed for, say, about 3 or 4 minutes. And it did as I expected, but it makes it anything future that's picked up by that camera, it will give credence to anything unusual. So my image remained on the bed once I'd left the bed, and slowly faded away. But it took about 5 minutes for the heat to dissipate, and this is just on bed linen on top of the bed. Say equally, a cold spot, a cold image, a cold spirit, if they were able to lie on the bed and absorb the heat and make it cold, that would equally show up on that thermal imaging camera. So yeah, it's very, very interesting experiment, and hats off to Harry for investing in them. And Chris has said, well said, Steve. But Steve's been talking a lot, so I'm not sure what he said very well. But yes, I know what you mean. Yes, it's difficult for people to accept explanations because they just want to believe what they want to believe, I think. So
what's the point? I was thinking to myself, what's the point? What's the end game? The end game's the truth. If it's not the truth, then, you know, there's no point to what we're doing.
Oh, people tend to kid themselves and accept that, don't they? That's the problem.
Like, you know, I think a lot of it as well is you just got too many people in the background who stir stuff up as well, like so. And like I said, trolls, you get a lot of people coming in as trolls and they're just saying it a lot of times just to try and cause a scene or get people wound up, or, you know.
Yes, Chris, I'm hoping when the COVID situation settles down eventually that you'll be able to come and join us and see all the equipment in place there. It'd be good to see you again. Yeah, there was a little while ago where Mandy's referring back to debunking things now, which is a very honest thing. We caught a sound on an audio recording that sounded like an old man's voice, and for a few minutes we were reasonably convinced it was. And the CCTV system played a great part in debunking it, and it was actually me that was accidentally the cause of the sound. I moved and walked a little bit while the recording was going on, so hands up, it was my fault. I'm sorry, Will. Created a squeaky floorboard, which was then interpreted by the recording equipment as it did sound like a voice, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was, but debunking it was so important.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, isn't it? We will actually speak up if someone's made a sound, moved, knocked something. We'll always say,
Yeah,
you know,
that was me. That was me.
That was me. You know.
Yeah. Holly has decided she's going to get a petition up for Steve to stand alone in a room for an hour whilst she asks for the spirits to interact with him. So you're in for it. Yeah, you're in for it, Steve. Sorry.
Well. Everybody else has got it in for me. What the hell?
Yeah, Chris has made the point that unfortunately TV shows and amateurs aid that fact, as in they follow the trend, I guess. You know, they see something on TV. Oh, let's do it that way. You know, it might not be right, but they tend to follow it. Roy's just leaving us. So if you're still there, Roy, we'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, bye. See you, Roy.
Sorry, carry on, Steve.
Yeah. I've lost my train of thought now.
Oh.
It'll come to me, really.
It'll come to me.
Oh, that was it. One thing I noticed as well is, especially on things like Facebook, is there's a lot of people who assume because a so-called team has got so many followers that somehow makes them the bee's knees, and makes them more credible because you got followers. And it annoys me in a way. It's you need to look at the team and the claims and not just blindly follow because they've got like 50,000 followers who follow them. Doesn't mean anything like that.
There was Mandy's just point out. I'm referring back to things that we've had personal experiences of, and this was prior to the CCTV system being put in the pub, which would have been brilliant. But I think there was 4 or 5 of us there at the time. This is going back probably 18 months. I know where you're going now with it. Footsteps, and it was absolutely stunning because we heard the footsteps. We all expected somebody to appear behind the fireplace, which obscured the view from us. Nobody appeared. I rushed round to the door. The door wasn't open. Nobody had come in the room and joined us.
Well, we didn't realise initially that the door didn't open.
No.
And then,
but it's a noisy door. We would have heard the door open. That's my point.
Yeah. And then when they left, we didn't hear the door close.
No.
I went over, didn't I, to the door to try and open it slightly, and it made a racket, and you could hear it just being gentle. Now, if that was one of the bar staff or Harry, they're not going to sneak in. They're just going to walk through and open the door.
Yeah. As they do many times, it's what they do.
We've had it before. I mean, they're just barging through. They're doing the work. They're going into the kitchen. They're going to the back where the computer is.
Yeah.
Harry just comes through to go to his flat, and there's no tip-tapping around.
No. Right, Steve, we're just coming up to about an hour, which is allotted time. I just want to show something because I want to conduct an experiment sometime in the future, and I would like as many people as possible to take part. I built 2 pieces of equipment. These things, if it shows up on the screen, it's what I'll have to do is just try and block the light out from behind. Where is it? It's not showing up very well. You can just see it. It's a random event generator. 16 LEDs, and the LEDs can randomly rotate left or right 1 time, 2 times, several times. So you'll see it bobbing around the screen at a very random action. It's going from one side up, down. I want to conduct an experiment where I've got another one of these and I will mount it somewhere on a table, point a camera at it, and invite as many people as possible to try and stop that random LED movement happening. In other words, keep the LEDs lit in just one position. And this is part of something that's been going on for many years in experiment in America, Global Consciousness Project. I'm not associated with it or linked with it. I've just got the idea. I've been following it for some time. They use different types of random event generators than mine. So the idea would be to try to see if enough people focused thought whilst being able to look at that device, although they wouldn't be in the room with it, they could be 4 different corners of the world, for all I know, linked via the magic of the internet. But focused minds from anywhere around the world, can enough people focus to stop that LED from rotating? So I haven't got a date or a time fixed for that yet. That's sometime in the future. I'll probably mount the experiment from the King's Head because there's more space to work from it there. So share the word, anybody that's interested. I would like as many people to be able to watch and take part as possible. Yeah, Chris has just been commenting. Chris has put, "Sir, you're the master of invention." It just keeps my brain working, Chris. That's all. I've got a big to-do list; it'll never ever end. But that's me. I enjoy it. But I always think I build machines for paranormal to try and answer the questions, and just a driving force. Right. So if we're all happy, we'll call it an evening. Thank you to everyone that's joined us, everyone that's been around watching us.
Can I just say before we go, anybody listening, if you're willing to come on yourselves, I mean, it'd always be interesting to hear anybody's point of view about anything.
Yeah, any related paranormal type subject. If you want to come on, do a live interview with us, give us your side of things, answer questions, be puzzled by people in the chat room, quizzed by people in the chat room. Come and join us, spread the word, be real. That's part of what we're doing it for.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will thank everyone and
thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Thanks everyone for joining us, and I will post a notice when we're on the air again. So
thanks guys.
From the Paranormal Chronicles, I thank you all.